right, everyone, welcome back to Soccer Talk. The show is back after a 2-week break due to some technical difficulties, but we are glad to be back with double the amount of games to talk about this time. Bill Williams currently enjoying a little bit of time off, so we will catch up with him in one of our future editions before we get into some playoff editions of the show, which should be very exciting. And yeah, after 7 months of some grueling regular season soccer here at USL League One, we are down to the final match day weekend coming this Saturday. And let's just go ahead and take a look at some of these standings here. And the playoff field is officially set. The bottom four of the league has been eliminated, but we still have a couple of seeding, decisions or placements that are still to be decided here in the final match day, and a big one for One Knox. So if you look at the top here, Union Omaha is going to be your Supporter Shield Player Shield champion for the second consecutive year. That's the trophy given out to the best regular season team in USL League One. So Omaha clinches that one at the top there, but we still have a lot of intrigue here lower down the table. Forward Madison and Northern Colorado Hailstorm are kind of duking it out to see who is going to secure that second seed. And there's still some intrigue even farther down the table between Greenville, Knoxville, and Charlotte. It seems there could be some movement here in the 4 to 6 range of the table, and that's big because top four is going to be able to host in that opening round of the playoffs, and that could be so key for a lot of teams who really, feed off that home atmosphere. And then you have at the bottom of the playoff field here, Spokane and Richmond vying to avoid being the 8th seed and then playing that, first place Union Omaha side there in the opening round. But yes, like we said, we didn't get to catch up last week after Knoxville's 2-1 victory over Central Valley Fuego here at home. The final match, regular season match, I should say, at the Regal Soccer Stadium on the University of Tennessee campus. As we get closer to 2025 and the new stadium that will be completed here in East Knoxville, just right next to the old city here. So let's go back to that Tuesday match from last week against a dead last Central Valley Fuego team, but has shown a little bit of life, even though they have been eliminated from the playoffs. It's been a difficult season under U.S. men's national team great Jermaine Jones at Central Valley, but he is currently suspended by USL for some allegations of some improper treatment of players. So it's been interesting to see this young Central Valley Fuego team kind of operate without Jermaine Jones at the head of that program, and so they were able to secure a win in coming into this Knoxville match, and they gave Knoxville all they had after coming across the country to take on this One Knoxville side. Let's pick it up here in the 24th minute. You see this high press here by One Knoxville paying dividends once again, forcing turnover here, and then it's off to the races. You see a nice ball in here to Zaracostas, who lays it off to Frank Ross, and his shot rings the crossbar, nearly opening the score for One Knoxville here at home. And we talk a lot about One Knoxville's defensive abilities, but a huge part of their defensive proficiency has been their ability to get after their opponents high up the field and cause those turnovers like you just saw there. But it did end up being the Central Valley Fuego side who struck first in this one. Really interesting combination of play here. You'll see Jose Carrera with the ball here, a nice little entry pass, and a great dummy here. Just takes out two of the One Knoxville defenders and leaves Zach Smuck one-on-one with Garibay, and the 18-year-old striker for Fuego scoring his first professional goal here, and putting Fuego up 1-0 in the opening half of this one in Knoxville. Potentially a big blow to Knoxville's hopes of hosting a home playoff match. But good news for the One Knoxville fans, they were able to respond pretty much immediately. A great goal by the midseason signing, Stavros Zaracostas here. He plays a nice little give and go here with Callum Johnson, gets into the box, and he fires a shot hard and across the goal here, and just leaves the keeper with no chance to have a chance at saving that one. And that was a big equalizer right before halftime for this One Knoxville side, as they are trying to, get maximum points, all three, in their final home game of the season, final regular season home game. And like we said, this Central Valley Fuego team was not rolling over despite being, already eliminated from the playoffs. And Knoxville really had to press their advantage there in the second half. And we saw it in spectacular fashion with Rudy Castro. This was a signing, mid-season signing from last year. We see this ball not cleared, and what a first-time creative strike by Castro at the edge of the box. Doesn't even let it hit the ground, volleys it out of the air. The looping shot goes right over the keeper Aviles's head, and he puts One Knoxville up 2-1 in the 75th minute there, and Knoxville able to see it out and secure all 3 points in that one. And that's just really been the tale of the tape for this One Knoxville side. If it's pretty much it feels like every game that they have been in has been decided by 1 goal or less. It's very rare that they concede multiple goals in a game. They haven't done that in, a long stretch, dating back to midsummer. And yeah, that defensive solidity and the timely goal scoring really makes them competitive in every single game. So Knoxville had a 2-game week. They had the game on Tuesday at home versus Central Valley, and then they had to hit the road on Saturday to go to a forward Madison side who was still vying to potentially be the Players' Shield winners. And, that's really been one of the most difficult places to play for visiting League One sides, has been there in Madison. And we're going to go out to that one with some highlights here as well. You see this ball into the channel for Madison is initially repelled here by Danny Fernandez, but and then again here by Skelton. But Angelo Kelly here dwells on the ball a little bit. He gets dispossessed, and then Madison is once again bearing down. A really nice combination play here on the left side ends up nearly coming as a goal for Garrett McLaughlin here. He kind of ghosts in on that near post, gets a glancing touch on that cross, but is unable to turn that one in. And Madison side that is just always so competitive, so proficient at home, kind of similar in One Knox in the way that it just seems like the way that they're able to limit the opponent's chances and just find a couple of timely goals. And yeah, this was a difficult one for One Knox, but they've shown that their game model, their ability, really pays them a lot of dividends on the road because they are so competitive. These teams get frustrated because they can't break down a really organized One Knoxville defense. And then you've had some chances going the other way for One Knoxville. We see a couple of chances here in the 28th. Gio Calixtro kind of going one-on-one with the defender here. He lays it off to Callum Johnson, who's just been so key for this side. Takes aim from distance, but it ends up being a low, easy save for the keeper of Madison. And just a couple of minutes later, a direct free kick here in the 36th minute. Kempis Tequila, Knoxville's leading goal scorer, standing over it. His curling free kick ends up safely in the hands of the Madison keeper, Bernd Shipman. And you can see Kempis Tequila, like I said, the leading goal scorer for this One Knox team. You can tell when he is disappointed with himself, seeing as he's had such success in his first year in League One. 9 goals in USL League One competition, 12 goals across all competitions. So he really has emerged as a talisman, the main offensive threat for this Knoxville side, and he is one of those players that has made it so that they're competitive in just about every game here. And like we said, this was a really tightly contested affair. Madison really, the onus was really on them if they wanted to, take their chance to be the Players' Shield winners into the final match day. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be, and the ability of backup One Knoxville keeper Johan Garibay really played a big part in that. And we saw that late in the game for this one. We see, Madison was really in the ascendancy late in this game, and you see some really nice combination play once again. As they kind of enter into the final third, that you can see the One Knoxville defense really sitting deep and just kind of begging them to come at them. Nice ball over the top here, finds their attacker, a nice little layoff. Unfortunately, Stuart Ritchie gets caught dwelling on the ball, a little give and go here, ends up at the feet of Juan Galindrez, and his shot forces a really spectacular double save by Johan Garibay to preserve the 0-0 scoreline here for Knoxville. And that's how this one ended up finishing. 0-0. Knoxville secures a point away from home, as they've done so often this year. Coming up a 4-point week for this Knoxville side, and that puts them still with a chance to clinch a home playoff position or playoff game in that opening round. So let's just go back to the standings here. And yeah, like I said, Greenville had a chance to secure the final home playoff spot last weekend. They lost at Central Valley Fuego, who, like we said, is the last place team in League One. So Knoxville now has a chance to jump Greenville. Greenville, they could once again secure that final home playoff game if they're able to win at home against South Georgia Tormenta, another team that has already been eliminated from playoff contention. But if Greenville is not able to secure that win at home, if they get a draw or a loss, then Knoxville could potentially swoop in and steal that final playoff spot. So if Greenville draws, Knoxville would need to win at Spokane to get that fourth place finish. Or if Greenville was to lose outright, then Knoxville, all they would need was be a draw away from home to get that final home playoff spot, which would just be so huge in the second professional year for this franchise. And it really would be the culmination of a really spectacular run of form for this One Knoxville team. Dating back to late June, this One Knoxville team has now lost just one time in the past 16 matches. One time in basically half a season of soccer. 7 wins, 8 draws, just one loss. And that one loss came against first place Players' Shield winners Union Omaha, really the best that this league has to offer. So One Knoxville has just been so competitive just across the board. They've been in every game with that, league leading defense. No defense has conceded fewer goals than Knoxville. And yeah, that has now paid dividends with the opportunity to potentially get that home playoff spot here in the final day of USL League One regular season play. And like I said, 16 matches, the league play consists of 22 matches, 1 home, 1 away with every opponent in the league. Then you're going to play at least 8 USL Jägermeister Cup matches. And Knoxville ended up playing 2 matches also in the Open Cup. And so, that comes to a 32-game season, and now you have One Knoxville who has lost just once in their past 16 games. Really a testament to the competitiveness, and I really got to give hats off to interim manager Ilya Illich, who took over in mid-June or so and has really just not skipped a beat with this Knoxville side. They have, maintained that defensive solidity, and it seems like they've added a little bit of an element on the attacking end. Wanted to just shout out a article that the USL League One's official site published about, called 3 Reasons Why One Knoxville Can Win the League One title and Why They Won't. And, it brings up some of the similar things that Bo and I have talked about here on the show before, but there's a couple interesting statistics that I wanted to share with the viewers. Like we said, best defense in League One. They've conceded the fewest goals, 16 goals conceded in 21 league matches. That's the fewest by far of any team. And then they are tied for the league lead in clean sheets, so games in which they conceded 0 goals. They are tied for first with 7 clean sheets there. And one of the things I found most interesting was this stat about Knoxville's ability to block shots. They're about a middle of the pack when it comes to shots faced in the league. They're not giving up an exceptional number of shots because they are so organized, but they are second in the league in blocked shots. So in the rare time that these opponents do get into the final third and get a shot on goal, that back 3 center backs of Jordan Skelton, of Danny Fernandez, Jalen Chrysler, they are just so adept at getting in those shooting lanes and limiting opportunities for the opponents to really get a good shot on net. And that's kind of, manifested itself in the ability of Sean Lewis there at the back. When those shots do end up getting on net, Knoxville is backstopped by one of the best keepers in all of League One. And he has, once again, the chance to be the USL League One Golden Glove winner for the 2nd straight year. This is an award that goes to the keeper with the lowest goals against average, and he enters this final week of regular season play in first place, just .73 goals against average per game. And so yeah, we've had players on the show before, and they've talked about what confidence it gives them to have, one of the best keepers in the league, kind of cleaning up any messes that they might have, behind them. And we mentioned a little bit the press earlier. You saw in that first highlight in the Central Valley Fuego game about how Knoxville's able to press up high and really disorganize their opponent. When you think about possession, or pressing, you think about the opponent, having the ball, and then your kind of forward lines, then your midfield coming in, putting pressure on them, kind of disrupting what they want to do as far as organizing and passing. But the USL League One's article about 3 reasons why they could win the league brought up that Knoxville is really effective when it comes to possessional press. So they are able to kind of put the opponent under pressure when they have the ball. Knoxville is tied for 3rd in the league for passes completed in the final attacking third, and then they are also tied for 3rd in total passes in the opposition's half. So when they are possessing the ball, they are passing the ball around high up the field, really pinning back the defense. And so even if the opposition is able to, turn One Knoxville over and get the ball, they're just as far away from the goal as they could be. And, Knoxville's then pressing high, trying to win the ball, as soon as they can. So that has really been another facet of this One Knoxville strategy that has made them so difficult to break down. They're possessing the ball really high up the field and just limiting their opponents' opportunities to, transition the other way. A lot of teams will try and play through the middle of the field, combine through their midfield, and then, once they get into the final third, then start to go out to the wings or into the box. But when you have the possession high up the field on the wings, like Knoxville loves to do with those wing backs, it's just so hard for the opposition to get out from their own half and then transition into attack. So that's just another great example of the coaching job that was started by Mark McKeever and now has been continued by Ilya Illich. And once again, they have not conceded multiple goals in a game since dating back to late June. And this is a strategy that's really going to, you would imagine, keep them competitive in a playoff match when, the play might slow down a little bit. Teams are going to be a little bit more risk-averse, trying to avoid any potential individual mistakes that might lead to a goal for the opposition. And so like we said, Knoxville is going to have a chance to potentially clinch a playoff spot on Saturday. They're going to go to Spokane on Saturday. That's going to be the late game, kicking off at 10 p.m., I think, here, since it's all the way out on the West Coast. So we should know for sure if Knoxville is going to be able to host that playoff match, around midnight on Saturday, or if you're probably getting up the next day and you'll be able to see that one. If they aren't able to host that playoff match, like we said, that most recent home match against Central Valley Fuego may be the final, final One Knox league match at Regal Soccer Stadium. We got a nice little update from Smokies owner Randy Boyd and the team about the new stadium that's coming into East Knoxville, right by the old city. It's also going to be the home of One Knoxville home matches. And it's great to see that the seats are now being installed at the stadium. I've seen Knoxville, they've got the season ticket packages now on sale for this beautiful new venue, multi-use, specifically designed to accommodate soccer. And if you can see kind of right here, you see the hydraulic lift that the pitcher's mound is going to be on, and that's going to allow them to, kind of transition from hosting Tennessee Smokies matches and then, being able to prepare the field to host, One Knoxville and professional soccer. So a lot of exciting stuff for Knoxville as we enter this, business end of the League One season. Check out WATE.com a little bit later. We are going to have some coverage of a mini pitch that One Knoxville has been refurbishing. Is going to open today at Harriet Tubman Park. It's great to see their impact in the community and, to refurbish some public spaces that some young kids will be able to, play on, and just get exposed to the game, which, is really just sometimes the biggest barrier for kids, participating and playing in soccer. So be on the lookout for that one on WATE.com, and on our afternoon broadcast a little bit later. And speaking of some soccer in the volunteer state, women's soccer fans will already know that the women's national team is back at it again this tonight. They're going to be in Austin playing a friendly against Iceland. But this Sunday they are coming to Geodis Park over in Nashville, Tennessee, largest soccer-specific stadium in the United States and Canada. And it's going to be a pretty special match. It's going to be a farewell, retirement ceremony at the halftime of that one for Kelly O'Hara, who really has just been a stalwart for this team for the last decade plus. 160 appearances, 2 World Cups, Olympic gold medalists, and so yes, she is going to bid farewell to this program at the halftime of that game in Nashville. It's going to be at 7:30 on Sunday, I believe. So check that one out, and it comes at a pretty interesting time for women's soccer in Nashville. There's been a lot of discussion about the expansion of the National Women's Soccer League, the top women's soccer league in the United States, and we got some news from a couple different outlets this past week, and just want to put up this headline from our friends over at WKRN that Nashville, a group of local investors there is looking to bring a professional NWSL franchise to the Music City, potentially at Geodis Park, which would just be an amazing venue. Has already shown itself to be an amazing venue for Major League Soccer, men's Major League Soccer. So the potential to have top-flight women's soccer at such an incredible venue, really at a great spot, with such great support for women's soccer in that area. Middle Tennessee really does have a exceptional track record of women's soccer excellence, with the colleges there, Belmont and Lipscomb. At the youth level, Tennessee Soccer Club has really, just been a hugely impactful presence for youth players in that area. They've sent tons of players to, play at college, and then, a couple of them have gone on to play professional soccer. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if Nashville, is able to secure that NWSL expansion franchise. From some of the other reporting from, the Sports Business Journal, from The Athletic, it looks like the finalists, at least for this round of expansion, I don't think expansion is anywhere close to being done for the National Women's Soccer League. Denver, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, all kind of vying with Nashville to get that newest expansion spot in the league. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. Every time it seems like that the women's national team has played in Tennessee, whether that's in Nashville. I remember they played in Chattanooga at Finley Stadium, home of University of Tennessee Chattanooga football. They also played there when after they won the World Cup in 2011, I believe. So yeah, it seems like every time that the women's national team has come out to Tennessee, it's been great to see the support. And yeah, it's really an awesome thing for young players to go see. It's a great atmosphere at women's national team games. And yeah, like we said, they're going to be at Geodis Park in Nashville this Sunday at 7:30. And yeah, a lot of interesting stuff with this this current women's national team roster. They're missing a couple of the big players that helped them win that Olympic gold medal there in Paris. Going to be without Trinity Rodman, who's been really one of the most exciting new players to join this team. But we've got 5 or 6 players that potentially make their debut for this women's national team. Players that have really distinguished themselves in NWSL. Players like Yasmin Ryan, Emily Sams, Hal Hirschfeld has been a player that a lot of women's national team enthusiasts have been kind of bookmarked as a player who would eventually make their national team, and Eva Gaetino, who is coming over from Paris Saint-Germain, already playing with a regular women's national team player, Corbin Albert, who's been playing in Paris for a couple of years now to very good effect. So a lot of exciting stuff for that women's national team. Really pair of friendlies coming up with Iceland. They're going to be, like we said, at Thursday tonight in Austin. They're going to be taking on Iceland, and then on Sunday they will be in Nashville, running it back once again with that Iceland team. It's going to be interesting to see how they approach both of those games, which lineup or which game really gets the strongest lineup, and which team or which other game kind of has a little bit more of an experimental feel to it. But a lot of exciting stuff coming up in the American soccer calendar. Like we said, USL League One coming to a close here after 7 months. The regular season finale this weekend. Tune in to ESPN Plus as they showcase all those games. And then the next time we have this show, we should be able to talk about, playoff opponents, where the game is going to be, and then, the potential path to Knoxville getting to, as they try and not only get to that second round of the playoffs, but then, to the USL League One final. And like we've said a couple times in the show before, I think, we're coming up on a watershed year for this league. 2025, you're going to see at least 6 teams join USL League One, and going to bid farewell to our old rivals, Lexington. Rivalries with a bit of an air quote. One Knoxville has just been dominant in that rivalry. Lexington is going to be going up to join the USL Championship, so it's going to be interesting to see if they kind of approach those Chattanooga games in the league with a little bit more intensity now that they're the really closest rival for Knoxville here in USL League One. But yeah, still a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to break down the final USL League One match day, those U.S. Women's National Team matches, and all the other exciting storylines from around the soccer world. Next Thursday, probably around 3:30. Should have Bo back for that one. So yeah, we'll tune in and talk to you guys then. And a lot of still exciting storylines to talk about. So we will break those down next week, and we will see you then.